The city of Rockford has seen several tragedies in the last year. Saturday night, faith-based organizations, law enforcement, and the community come together to heal as one. WIFR's Alyssa Kelly talks with coordinators of Saturday's events on the importance of holding something like this in our community for the first time.
Faith in Blue is a national event to bring the faith, community, and law enforcement together by finding ways to work with one another instead of being divided by differences. And after 3 years of discussions, finally came to Rockford.
One bad apple do not spoil the whole bunch.
Faith in Blue is based on strong communities built through mutual respect and understanding. Event coordinators say it is important to host this to combat the reputation surrounding law enforcement.
Where the faith community and the law enforcement community come together. And so we know that if we come together and we're strong, we build a stronger community.
Markham is the Rockford Police Department Public Information Officer and was one of the 4 people honored locally, along with Chief Carla Red, Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Caruana, and Rockford Park District Chief Theo Glover.
All the law enforcement is not bad. And we need to know that, and other people need to know that and know that they are here, because anytime you have any issues, who are you going to call?
Organizers say law enforcement and faith are pillars of each community, including Rockford. When they work together, neighborhoods can thrive.
With me being prior law enforcement myself, I just think it's a beautiful thing to be able to bring the community together on something good instead of always being something negative.
One event coordinator, Janice Mathis, says she is happy to be a part of something that honors both law enforcement and faith, 2 things that have supported her in the past.
We had a tragedy in our family about 4 years ago, and my granddaughter was killed, and who showed up was a police and a chaplain, Faith in Blue.
Saturday's event also featured the gospel cop, Minister Mervyn Mayo, a Virginia police officer and minister whose music was recently featured on America's Got Talent.
Coordinators say they hope to make Faith in Blue a yearly tradition in the city of Rockford as a way to lift people up in wake of a tragedy.